with Mr. Mandela?
Definitely, any meeting him like it was possible to have a couple of words of conversation which happened sometime. It was for me highlighted, it was because his interest in my job, his interest in my profession, and always asking some questions which I answered thoroughly, then it was for me very, very interesting.
Sure.
Very
of course, he'd been away from all the technology in his time in prison. So he was definitely really interested in how technology has changed, and I'm sure he must have been really interested in your photography.
Yes.
Well, we'll go back to Margaret, who's standing by in Kimberley. Margaret Motibi, our reporter. Margaret?
Good afternoon. We are in Khalishiwe at the Multipurpose Center, where the residents of Khalishiwe have gathered actually to pay their tribute to Madiba. What is basically happening behind me is that the keynote speaker is speaking at the moment, and he's telling people that are here about his experiences with Madiba. And speaking now is Ben Dikobe, who's the Minister of Energy in the country. I am going to give you a brief background as to what has happened so far in the province in terms of the commemorations of Madiba. On Sunday, we went to Bloemfontein, where the Sand community was actually paying tribute to Madiba, and they composed 3 beautiful songs that they sang about Madiba. And the essence of the song was to say that he gave them back integrity as the people, and he did a lot for them, and took them actually out of Smithsdrift and bought a farm and built houses for them. And on Monday, we met with elderly people from an old age home that had gathered at a square in Khalishiwe. They had prayers, they lit candles, and they actually left flowers for Madiba at the square actually. And on Tuesday, the residents around here gathered at this public viewing area where they saw what was happening at FNB because they couldn't all make it there. On Wednesday, the province had a provincial memorial service where Madiba was actually commemorated as well. Again, people spoke about the life that he lived and the difference that he's made in their lives. Ordinary people were saying how they are now getting grants because of what Madiba did for them. In Khomotso, which is a rural village in the Northern Cape on the border of Northwest, we spoke to traditional leaders that said Madiba had emancipated women and also gave people like them in rural areas a voice. I'm also going to be speaking now to a young person that is part of the memorial service now here that is currently taking place here in Khalishiwe, and I'm going to be asking him what kind of difference that Madiba's life have in his particular life, the difference in a sense that what is it that he's doing that he couldn't be able to do in the past. Good afternoon. Could you tell us about what difference Madiba has made in your life?
Good afternoon. First and foremost, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Gregory Seleke. I'm a boy from Kimberley. There are a lot of things that Nelson Mandela has done, but just to mention a few amongst others, we are able to live in a free society whereby you can express your views religiously. So we are living in a country whereby we're getting free education, and everything in our lives is happening according to before, like in your apartheid area.
And we're also speaking to Mama here. She's going to also be telling me that since Thursday, it has been a week after Madiba's passing, she has seen tributes, and she also wants to express her condolences to the Madiba family, and to also speak about the difference that she has seen in her life because of Madiba.
Good afternoon or good morning, if I'm right. Now, from my side, I would like to say it's an honor to us for the passing of Tata Madiba. The reason why is because of Tata Madiba have done a lot to us. O changile maphelo a rona thata mo eneng gore by then ka apartheid re sa khone le go ka ema yana mo TV re bua re ne re sena even le no go ka be re dutse mo holong re phutulogile re bua ka Tata Madiba. Nako tse tsotlhe ne ka re ha re kopana mo ba re bonang re le 5 teng bana ba bona gore re di ke dinokwane tse di leng teng yaanong ka bakeng la gagwe gore a ile a rena a lwanela freedom ke ka mo re kgonang go ya gongwe le gongwe ka yone se nka se bua mo setšhabeng sa rona sa South Africa ke tla bara ke re bone tsela o re neile re tshwanetse la re tse mo a tlogetseng teng re tswelele pele ka yone ke a leboga.
What Mama basically said was that the late president gave them a voice, and that because of the difference that he has made, she is now able to speak on national TV and to express her views, and that she is very grateful for that. So what is going to be happening now in the Northern Cape is that 5 public viewing areas have been set up in all the 5 districts of the province, so people can actually go to those areas on Sunday and be able to see the funeral proceedings of Madiba. Back to you in the studio. That's all from us in Galeshewe.
Margaret Matibi coming to us from Kimberley there. Now, continuing our conversation with the retired camera person Jan Kopec, who's in the studio with us. He's a reservoir of history, a font of knowledge. Jan, in your interactions, in your career, you actually had some very, very momentous photographs. There was something about Winnie Madikizela Mandela.
I was working at that time in Sunday Times, which I worked there for before television came to South Africa, and I was sent to take a picture of her when she was banned. She was working in the lawyer's office as a secretary, and that was my first encounters with like Mandela family. She was there, and that was the last time when we could take a picture, because after that she was banned. We were not allowed to show any pictures of her, and I think that is also quite a historical shot.
Of course, yes.
It's interesting.
Now, in your career at the SABC, you were also responsible or instrumental in training some of the camera persons that came after you.
Yes, before I came to South Africa, I was working in Poland for a couple of years for Polish television in city of Gdańsk, where was Solidarity birth there.
Oh, yes.
Later, much later, I was already in South Africa.
Yes.
And with that experience, when I was employed at SABC as a cameraman, I was having probably the large number of years with shooting news and organizing news events and things like this. And I was given the task also to teach young aspiring cameramen or photographers, which they were coming to work for the Channel 3 of TV, which was then regarded as a channel for black viewers.
This was then the transformation of SABC itself, as well as its broadcast. So we're adding on more channels at that time.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the one thing that most people talk about whenever they're interacted with Madiba, with Mr. Nelson Mandela, has always been his, his personality. What was it about him that you connected with personally?
It was an easiness to come to anybody. Like I was just a cameraman or I was just a photographer. And he always took interest at any time after taking these first pictures of him before he became a president. He remembered me. He always come. He always greet me, even if it was big gathering or something international stature. He always managed to get close to me and say hello. Of course, it was very uplifting, to having such a person like him with such a warm character. And he comes to you, the president comes to you, shake your hand or greet you.
Yes, it's quite a stunning moment, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Well, thank you very much indeed for coming into the studio and sharing your experiences and your memories of Nelson Mandela.
Look, it is very sad time, that he's gone, but you see, I have him alive here, and I know that he bring us to the state where we are, to the history point. He has to go, he gone. Everybody has to finish like this, but it is a very sad moment for everybody, I think, and I worship him, and I really feel sorry if I sad also.
And your pain is palpable. We can feel it, and we understand.
That's,
all of us, I think, in the country are going through similar.
The same period, yes.
Exactly.
And I think it may be a little bit easier when he will get proper funeral and had buried in Kunu.
Sure.
then it will make easy, because I still don't feel like that he is dead.
Sure. No. Yeah, everyone's still in a state of shock, the entire country. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me here.